Were you able to pick up anything from Denzel because that's early on in your acting career?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Pick up anything?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Getting to watch him work, just to see how him and Ethan Hawke were preparing for each scene. That's what I'm talking about. It gave me some gold nuggets where, because I'm just keeping. I was acting a fool in those days. You know what I mean? I was partying the night before, coming to set. I was on a good one. I was high, drunk, all of that. I was like, I'm gonna give you some real acting, bro, some method acting. You know what I'm saying? I was on a good one, bro. But it showed me the difference between laser focusing and just focusing.
Yeah.
And when I saw them in their zone, I picked up a lot of like, oh, all right, now I. But I say it like this. You got to know when it's time to joke around and when it's time not to and get with the program. So,
Right.
Work now, play later.
I mean, I know you've been in Hollywood now for a while.
I call it Hollywood, bro. Just so I'm clear. Yeah,
Like I call
Hollywood.
Hood, you know what I'm saying?
You know already, bro.
I'm from Eagle Hood.
That's another podcast, bro. That's another podcast, bro.
That's when we go real hood.
Right. That's part 2 to this one.
Part 2, exactly. But you've been typecast as a gangster. Pretty much every movie that you've been in, right? Pretty much a gangster.
Yeah, like 80. Right. That's part 2 to this one.
Part 2, exactly. But you've been typecast as a gangster. Pretty much every movie that you've been in, right? Pretty much a gangster.
Yeah, like 75%.
Yeah. Do you like that or dislike that? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I feel like a couple ways about it. One is someone got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be me. It's going to be someone else.
Might as well get paid doing it.
Yeah, right? And I'm like,
I feel you on that.
So, to crack the door and get in, it worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then 75%.
Yeah. Do you like that or dislike that? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I feel like a couple ways about it. One is someone got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be me. It's going to be someone else.
Might as well get paid doing it.
Yeah, right? And I'm like,
I feel you on that.
So, to crack the door and get in, it worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you get to a quote-unquote position where you can kind of do your own thing and branch off. And, I believe if no one gives you the opportunity, you give the opportunity to yourself. You make it happen, you know what I'm saying? So long story short, I didn't mind doing it to, quote-unquote, get the face known, to start being able to open up other doors.
Right.
But it was funny, though, because in the early days, I had a lot of cats out there that were like, man, don't play the gangster role. Don't do that because, you're making the Mexicans look bad, this, that, and the other. But it was funny, though, because in the early days, I had a lot of cats out there that were like, man, don't play the gangster role. Don't do that because, you're making the Mexicans look bad, this, that, and the other. But now they 50 years old trying to play the gangster role. And I'm like, come on, dog. I'm like, damn, bro. I thought you said not to do it. All of a sudden, the check's clearing, and now you want to do what you're telling me not to do. I'm like, get it right. Make a decision, brother. Make a decision. You know what I'm saying? You got some funny ones in the game, bro.
What made you get into acting? Because tell us about your childhood. Was your childhood, based off of being in the hood, and what made you go into the acting career?
Yeah, I got tossed in the mix, man. So I'll be straight up. Up to the age of 13 years old, I lived in a middle-class home. My parents weren't poor, but they weren't rich either. Mm-hmm. We were middle class. But the catch was, my parents were the only two to come to California to start a living from their side of the family. So I never in my life met my mom's side of the family or my dad's side of the family. I literally got no cousins, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephew, uncle, aunt, nothing. I got no family, straight up, straight out. You guys got some you want to give away, I'll take them, right? But long story short...
Hey, be careful about that shit.
Be careful what you ask for.
After the podcast, I got some numbers to give you with addresses, right?
Here's a list.
Yeah, right. All right, well, give me the healthy ones, bro. Give me the healthy ones, bro. But, so I to cut out a lot of the fat and get to the bone, I'll give you the detail if you want it, but to try to just skip through it for fast breaks, so we say the story fast, right? But my dad was a miserable guy. Hated his life. His life was work, television, always worked his life. He used to abuse me physically, mentally. My mom is what, right? But my dad was a miserable guy. Hated his life. His life was work, television, always worked his life. He just used to abuse me physically, mentally, my mom as well. One day, he left me. And I literally was homeless at the age of 13 years old. Both my parents left me, and for 2 years, I went from a middle-class home to being on the streets. My dad gave me $500 and pretty much said, good luck. So for 2 years, I did the couch tour, but, let's keep it real. When you're not paying the bills at someone's house, your welcome is going to run out eventually. Yeah. So I went from friend's house to friend's house. I slept in donut stores. I slept in laundromats. There were times I didn't have a place to sleep. So at the age of 50, that's when the gangbanging started, you know. And just to make this clear, I'm not saying I'm the craziest in the streets. I'm not saying I was the craziest in the streets, but I am saying I lived that life. I was about it. Yeah. I've been there, done that. I was facing 15 years for assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. I did 4 years locked up. So I'm not saying I was the craziest in the streets, but I'm saying I was about that life. I lived that life. I did that life. I was there, right? At 15, I met this girl, and one day she asked me, she said, how come you always wear the same clothes and I never seen where you live? So I just broke down. I'm 15 years old. I'm just keeping it 100. I started crying. I told her my story straight up. I said, my parents left me. I'm homeless. This is what it is. Her dad heard my story. They took me into their home. So I started living with this family who I didn't know. So I said all that to get to the point. So the way the acting got started, it was her dream to be an actress, model, and the whole Hollywood deal. I was running the streets acting a fool, crying. I told her my story straight up. I said, my parents left me. I'm homeless. This is what it is. Her dad heard my story. They took me into their home. So I started living with this family who I didn't know. So I said all that to get to the point. So the way the acting got started, it was her dream to be an actress, model, and the whole Hollywood deal. I was running the streets acting a fool. I didn't even think someone like me, let alone could be on TV, right? I was good with the highway speed chases. That was good enough for me. So next thing I know, bro, she asked me to go to this acting class. That was you? Yeah, right. I'm the one who got away, bro. I'm the one who got away, though, bro. I don't know how you get caught on a motorcycle, but that's another story. Long story short, man, it was crazy because one day she asked me, she said, you want to come with me to this acting class? I never thought about anything about it, right? And the reason why I did everything she said is because I always thought that if I got her mad or something like that, she had me kicked out of the house. Yeah. And being homeless, I knew what it was to have a roof over my head. So I wanted that roof, you feel me? Right. Yeah. So it's because I always thought that if I got her mad or something like that, she had me kicked out of the house. Yeah. And being homeless, I knew what it was to have a roof over my head. So I wanted that roof, you feel me? Right. Yeah. So I was her little pet. I pretty much was like, you know, I did whatever I had to do to keep her happy. Right. But I hit a baby lottery. I wasn't looking for acting. I never thought about it a day in my life, none of that. I went to a acting class with her to keep her happy. Right. But I hit a baby lottery. I wasn't looking for acting. I never thought about it a day in my life, none of that. I went to a acting class with her. There was a producer who was sitting in class that day with scouting talent. Age of 15, he comes up to me and says, hey man, you're funny, you want to be in a commercial? Because I was talking smack in the classroom because I thought everybody was dorks and nerds. So I was just acting a fool, wilding out. And he's like, man, I like you, bro. He's like, and I thought he was on some BS. I gave him my phone number, and it ended up being real. Wow. 2 weeks later, I did a commercial for Taco Bell at the age of 15. And you guys know what residual income is, right? Yes. Oh, yeah, white people came up with that stuff, just so you know. So I was 15, bro, and I had no idea what residual income was, right? I'm 15. I'm ignorant to that. So I thought it was like, you got to work to get paid, work to get paid, work to get paid. I don't know what residual income. So I'm getting all these checks. I think it's a computer mess up. You know what I mean? But I'm cashing them because I got my story for court. They just kept on paying me. I didn't know, right? Yeah, right. So I call up the producer and I say, hey, why I keep on getting paid for this commercial? And he goes, no, that's how actors get paid. I said, what? I said, well, I want to be an actor. And I'm getting all these checks. I think it's a computer mess up. You know what I mean? But I'm cashing them because I got my story for court. They just kept on paying me. I didn't know, right? Yeah, right. So I call up the producer and I say, hey, why I keep on getting paid for this commercial? And he goes, no, that's how actors get paid. I said, what? I said, well, I want to be an actor.
Shalom, Yasharala, all praises and glory goes to our mighty power, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, salutations to the lettermen feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, and sincerity and truth of this great gospel coming out of our Bible. You know, you just seen one of my favorite Issacharite actors, right, in this wicked society we live in. Because Jake just be keeping it real in his movie scenes, right, as a so-called Issacharite in this society, right? He keep it real. He got that keep it real spirit. But he ain't keeping real for the Lord. He keeping it real for this world. That's the problem with our people, man. Their minds are too far gone in this society, right? Also, why? Because for the love of money, right? If they fear poverty, They fear losing things. They fear being poor. Right? I'm reading it. It says here in the book of 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Right? A lot of the Israelites in Hollywood, what? For the love of money, they done promoted their people as what? Sluts, prostitutes, gangbangers, murderers, drug addicts, right? Criminals, right? The face of evil in Hollywood, right? At one time, the only roles a Hispanic or a black would get is a rapist, a criminal, a prisoner, an inmate, right? A thief, a robber, right? After that, you don't get no serious roles in Hollywood. I'm reading 1 Timothy 6:10. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after they erred from the faith, right? Erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows, right? Because it's not about what you want to do in life, right? The Lord done already planned a life for you. It's either you're of the elect or you're of the 2/3, right? It's either you're here for righteousness or you're here for wickedness. It's either you're here for salvation or you're here for destruction, right? And most of these Hollywood people, man, what they here for? They're here to promote madness, darkness, really to keep you following after Esau fucking Edom, the so-called white man. So-called white man. Jake feel like the only way to be successful in society is to follow after the devil, not knowing what it's the Lord that make you wealthy. It's the Lord that makes you go through poverty. You just seen the brother talk. Well, the brother said he was doing good, him and his family, middle class. At the age of 13, the Lord took everything away from him. 2 years of sleeping on the streets. And out of nowhere, what the Lord brought him back to what? To living a comfortable life. Let me read this here. This 1 Samuel 2:7. One of my favorite. It says, Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich, right? The Lord made him poor at 13 and brought him back at 15. He bringeth low and lifteth up. Right? He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. Right? The reason I'm making this video, because right now you see the children of Israel living in straight poverty. Right? You can see the curses tearing our people up. There's no way you could look at what's the condition of the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans and say that these people are going to rule next. How the fuck you going to rule next? You ain't got a military, right? You're not together. You don't have a government. You don't have shit. All you got is these religions that you following after in faith, right? That's how the world is looking at these motherfuckers. Crazy talking about they got next. But spiritually, they know we do got next, because who we are, man, we the people of the Lord. Right, and what the Lord want to do, He's gonna raise us up out of this poor state that we're in, right? A state of poverty, a state of hunger, a state of depression, a state of sorrow, right? A state of fucking confusion. Right, our people don't know what's going on. I'm reading again. This is the book of 1 Samuel 2:7. It says, Yahweh, the Lord maketh poor and maketh the rich. He bringeth low and he lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, right? To set them among the princes and to make them inherit the throne of the glory, right? What the Lord about to do, He about to bring the people that's on the bottom and to put them on top, and the people that's on the top, He about to fucking bring them far on the bottom, back to where they supposed to be. Back to where it's supposed to be. The Bible said, what I have seen, what? This is the book of Ecclesiastes 10:7. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. I'm read that again. I have seen servants upon horses. Who are the servants? Them Edomites. Right? When they came and took over America, you had the troop that overtook Gad, right? And what else? You had the slaves walking as, right? It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants, right? We became servants to what? The bases of men, right? Who's the basis of men? Esau, Edom. I'm read this again. I've seen servants upon horses, right? And princes walking as servants upon the earth. I'm reading the book of Daniel 4:17. It reads, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. And what he do? He setteth and giveth it to whomsoever he will." And what did the Lord do? He ruleth in the kingdom of men. So these men in this society don't run nothing. It's the Lord who set up your different leaders, your different rulers, your different countries to be in different positions, to rule over different peoples. This is the Lord's show. I'm reading again. "This matters by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and what is set up over it the basest of men." The basest of men. Who's that? Esau, Edom, right? You got the basest of men ruling. And the Lord set them up. What's for a punishment unto who? The children of Israel. Right? Unto the children of Israel. So it ain't nothing for the Lord to make a caveman the main man, right? This man used to be a fucking caveman. Now he's the main man, right? Talks about how, matter of fact, let's get that verse in Psalms. First, let's go to this Job right quick. This is Job 30 and I'm gonna start at 1 shit. It says, "But now they that are younger than," right? Slide, bear with me. It says, "Now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock," right? We're talking about the basis of men. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. At one time, man, people wouldn't even let them be around the animals. Because what these so-called white people like having sexual activities with animals. Right? They're bestiality people. Right? It says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." Right? We look at these crackers worse than we look at an animal. Right? It says, "Yea, whereunto might the strength of their hands proffer me, in whom old age was perished." It says, "From want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former times, desolate and waste," right? That's when they became a caveman. Right? The Lord shut them down. It says, "The thief cometh not but to steal." Right? It says, "Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat." It says, "They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks." Right? Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They had no language. Right? They had no home. They were in caves. Right? It says they were children of fools. Yet children of base men. They were vile in the earth. And what it says, "Now am I their song? Yea, I am their byword. They abhor me. They flee far from me, and spare not to spit my face." Right? You see the way these cave dwellers, the Caucasians, act towards you Israelites. Like they're better than you. Like they're better than you. Right now, the Lord set them up. Right? The Lord took the basis of man, a caveman, and put him over us to punish us for being disobedient. But guess what? The Lord about to bring us and put us back in power, right? He's about to take this caveman down and put us back in power. The Bible says what? 2 Ezra 6:9, it says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and who Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Yeah, the children of Israel. We about to take this over. Yeah, we about to take it over without a military, right? Without a government, right? Without our people being together, all through the power of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.